As you can see, I already have Sketchup started. So when you see this main screen here, we want to choose the templates. And basically these are all the same as much as we will use them, but just so we're consistent, I'm going to choose the architectural design in millimeters and click Start using SketchUp. And then you'll see the main screen load. And the only thing that's really different for us in either of the different options is that they've got different layouts or different background colours. So you can see immediately we've got this person there that's used for scale. I'm just going to use the eraser and click on them to get rid of them. And then we're going to start off by using the circle tool. So if you look at the main options up here, we'll try to use all of the different tools as we go through this. So the main one we're going to start with is the shapes option. I want to choose the circle, and we can see from the instructions to try and start on the kind of base here. So if you click close to the center of the origin and just leave the mouse there, it will tell you you're on the origin. If I click and hold and drag out, we can make this cylinder appear. So we've got the circle out, and now we want to use the push-pull tool to make it taller. So you can see the push-pull tool is this one with the arrow, and what it does is it expands an object in the direction you're looking. Now, we're trying to make a drinks can, so I should really try and zoom out a little and use the rotate tool just to make sure I'm happy with how tall it is and how it's looking. So if I use the extend tool to get it to a rough height so it looks similar to the kind of proportions of a drinks can. So you can see that I've created that the same way. Now you can use the orbit tool to have a look at it from different angles, the zoom tool to zoom in, so left and right clicking to zoom in and zoom out. Now the first side that we're going to start on is the bottom, so I want to use the orbit tool to orbit and look at the bottom. Now we've got to try and model the drinks can, so what I want to do is get that part that's on the bottom of drinks can. Now it's not going to be perfect, but you guys can copy this example and you can try and make a second one that's a bit more like a drinks can. So I want to use the offset tool, which is this one. So if we click on that and make sure we're on the surface of the bottom, and like before, click and hold, and if you think how the bottom of a drinks can looks, it's got this kind of little lip. So if we use the offset tool, that creates a second surface for us on the bottom, on the edge of it too. And then what we want to do is use the push-pull tool in order to push that lip back in a little, kind of similar to how a real drinks can is. So you can see it moving. If we zoom in, you'll see that that edge there has moved in. Okay, so that's the bottom done. Could be much better and more accurate, but it's pretty similar to how a drinks can looks. Next for us is the top of the drinks can. So again, we are going to use the offset tool. So if we click and drag it out, kind of leave again that lip we would see in the top of drinks cans. Next, we are going to use the push-pull tool just to drop that surface down a little. So make sure we go down the way with the push-pull tool and not the wrong tool. So if we drag it up the way, obviously wrong. So make sure you're pushing down a little just so we've got that lip. Next, we're going to use the circle tool to try and make the opening in the drinks can. So if we click on the circle tool here again like before, you want to draw one small-ish circle and then a second much larger circle. Now not too large that it's off the edges. Now if you make a mistake, it's okay just to click it, to use the eraser or undo. So I'm going to try and just get it perfect till I'm happy with it. And I think right about there should be fine. Okay, next use the pencil tool, this line, just to connect the edges of both sides of it, try and get it about the same distance, the same part. You can see the guidelines starting to help there. Next, use the eraser tool on these internal lines. And be careful not to delete the external ones. Now, it doesn't look too perfect, so if you can get rid of any extra little lines, if you make any mistakes, if you accidentally do that, just press undo. Now that's perfect. It's pretty big, but that's okay. Now what we want to do is use the pointer tool to click on that surface, and we want to get rid of it, so we can press the delete key just to remove it. And if we use the zoom tool and the pan tool, you can zoom and see that you can see right inside it's deleted that surface entirely. And then we want to do is use the push pull tool again, just to raise it up a little bit, not too high, just the kind of thin metal that we see on the top. Now to make it look even better, we can use the eraser tool on these edges, just to make it look better. So the internal lines, just to make it look a bit more like the thin metal that we would have. And again, this gets us using the different tools. Eraser tool again. And again, if you make a mistake, just press edit and undo, and you can see I've removed all of those there. Okay. Zoom back out and look at the surface. Okay, so it's not the best drinks can in the world, but what you can do now is add an image to your drinks can to make it look even more like a real drinks can. I've already made an image which you could make in Photoshop, or if you want to be quick, the best thing to do is actually make it in Microsoft Office, and you can use the screen grab tool just to take a screenshot of it, and you can feel free to add other images and make it look interesting and eye-catching. So I have it on my desktop just for speed, and for us to be able to add it to our drinks can, first we've got to choose File and then choose Import as our option, and this will bring up the file menu system. And if we browse to wherever you've saved it, so it's just a screenshot here, you can see that it then appears inside and you're able to move it. So what I want to do is click on the surface of my drinks can, and if you click near the bottom, you'll see it starts to grow. And then if you make your second click, the end point at the top, and click and release, you'll see that it doesn't look how you'd expect, but this is exactly what we want to happen, because now it's imported this image that we're then able to paste on to the rest of our surface. So in order to finish off, if we use the paint bucket tool, and if you look here, we could choose lots of colours, we could go and then paint the other surfaces. But if you look through the different options and choose the end option, or any one of the options that you can see the home, you can see the little house. So we click on home, and we look through colours and model and scroll down to the bottom, you can see that that's imported. So if you click on it, make sure you've clicked on it once, sorry, and you then use the paint bucket tool to then click on the other surface, you can see that it then paints this onto the rest of it. You can see my image was possibly a little too big, and some parts can overlap, like this piece here is not quite accurate, so I can go back and adjust that. Now you could use your time to recreate another image. You could try and add images to the bottom and underneath. You could try and use the offset tool to make the bottom more accurate. You could do the top better and make a ring pull on there, or anything to make it look a bit more realistic compared to this option, because it's not a perfect drinks can, but it looks okay.